Hey, welcome back. I'm Mark and this is Chase Your Taste. What do you say we do some comfort food? I remember Mom making some Salisbury steak. Salisbury steak's got a lot of flavor to it. You can put that gravy on top of some mashed potatoes with that Salisbury steak on there. Man, I'm talking about a really good meal. So what do you say we get to cooking?
For a Salisbury steak, I've got a pound of hamburger meat. This is 80/20. I got some beef broth, some Worcestershire sauce, one whole onion sliced, about a half a cup of breadcrumbs, some flour, some butter, mushrooms sliced, salt and pepper, Lipton's onion soup mix, onion powder, garlic powder, and something my mom showed me how to use is some kitchen Bouquet browning seasoning. So here's our meat. Like I said, it's about a pound of 80/20 hamburger meat. So to this, we're going to add some salt, and you'll salt and pepper this to taste. Salt and pepper. We're going to add our Lipton's onion soup mix. Now, if you don't want this Lipton onion soup mix, you don't have to put it in there. This just helps to give it a little extra flavor. So we're going to add some breadcrumbs to it, about a half a cup of breadcrumbs, some Worcestershire, just a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, some onion powder, about a teaspoon, some onion powder, about the same of that, about a teaspoon, and I didn't show in the descriptions or the all the ingredients, but you're also going to have one egg. Now, you can get in here and do this with your hands, but I've heard that if you use your hands, the heat from your hands will break down the fats in the meat. So we're just going to use a wooden spoon. We're going to get all this incorporated before we make our patties. So we want to get this mixed up really, really good. And you don't want to overwork it, but we want to get everything mixed up. Okay, so now our meat is ready to make some patties. I'm gonna make, like I said, this is only about 1 pound of meat. So let's make our patties. All right, so let's make our patties. And you can make your patties however you want. You can make either flat patties, you can make oval patties. I'm going to make mine kind of a little oval. About like that. And as you can see, 1 pound is going to make you about 4 Salisbury steak patties here. Now, if you want onions in this, that's fine, but there's going to be onions in the gravy that we make with it. Now, if you want to make 2 big patties, do that, but I'm going to make 4. All right, so there's our hamburger or patties for our Salisbury steaks. So now we're going to fry these up, and when we fry them, we're not going to fry them all the way through because the gravy is going to cook it through. We're just going to get us a nice, good brown crust on it. We're going to set our fire on about medium high, and we're going to add just a touch of olive oil, not a whole lot. We just don't want our meat to stick to the bottom of the pan. And once our pan heats up, then we'll put our meat in there. You want a fairly hot pan so that your meat doesn't stick and it starts to brown right away. You want that sizzle when you put your meat down in that pan. So we'll get that hot and be right back. Our pan is hot, so let's add our hamburger steaks to this. You can hear it sizzling. Like I said, we're only going to brown both sides. We're not looking to cook these all the way through. Just like that. So this is going to take about 3 or 4 minutes on both sides. So once we get ready to turn these, we'll be right back. All right, so let's flip our look at that. See a nice little crust. Ouch, that was hot. All right. And don't worry about the stuff sticking to the bottom of it. That's just going to help with our gravy. Okay, so we're going to let that cook on this side. Then we'll pull them out, and then we'll start on our onions and our mushrooms. All right, let's check our meat. It's brown on both sides, so we're just going to pull these out, set them back in our plate. Set these aside. Now I'm going to drain some of this fat off, so I'll be right back. So I drained some of the fat off, and I didn't drain all of it off. If you notice, I still got some fat in there because we're going to need that for our roux. So we're going to add a little bit of butter to this. Some butter in there. We're going to get it in there, and we're going to get some of them bits off that bottom of that, off the bottom of our pan. That's what's going to flavor our meat, our gravy. All right. So to this, we're going to add our onion. And going to put some salt on them and some pepper. And we're also going to add our mushrooms. All right, and we're going to cook these down until they're translucent, until the onions are translucent, until everything's soft. And they'll be ready to make our gravy. So when these are cooked down, I'll be right back. Man, just look at that. Look at them onions. They're looking good. The mushrooms are looking good. So we are now ready to make our roux. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to push these onions and everything off to the side so I can have this little pocket right here. And we're going to make our roux. So we're going to put in here some butter. I'm going to let that butter melt. Turn our fire up just a little bit. Get our flour. And we're going to use about, a couple of tablespoons of flour. Get our whisk out here. get myself dirty here. All right, so we're going to melt this down. Now when we cook this flour, we're going to cook this, make this roux. We're going to cook this flour until, for about 3 or 4 minutes, because we want to cook that raw flour taste out of it. So get that broke up. All right. So now we're going to add our flour. Like I said, about 2 tablespoons of flour. Get that incorporated in there. Just add just a tad bit more. All right. So we'll get the rest of the stuff in there. And we'll just start mixing everything together. It is looking good. We're going to cook it just a little while longer. We'll make sure we get that flour cooked down. Alright, yeah, that's looking good. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our beef broth, and we're going to add about 1.5 cups, 2 cups of beef broth. Alright, that looks good. So we'll get this stirred up. Now I'm using a whisk because we want to make sure we get everything broke down, all that flour and everything broke down. All right, we're going to add a little bit more beef broth. So it's going to take about 1.5 cups, 2 cups of beef broth. And then to this, I'll turn my fire down a little bit. We're going to add some Worcestershire sauce. About a tablespoon of Worcestershire. And then a little magic my mama taught me. Some of this kitchen Bouquet. Now a lot of people don't know about this, but just a couple good splashes of that. We'll get that stirred in. That looks good. Okay, so we're going to add to that some onion powder and some garlic powder. Just a little bit. All right, we'll get this stirred up. And when it gets to boiling, we'll check the seasonings in it. So when this gets to boiling, I'll be right back. So our gravy is starting to boil, so I'm going to taste it real quick. Oh my God. That's delicious. That is absolutely delicious. So we're going to stir it one more time. You see how thick it's already starting to get? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add our meat back to the mixture. Get that down in there. Just like that. You want that meat all the way down in there. Alright, let's get us a spoon here. Watch out, dog. So we're going to take this spoon and we're just going to take and drizzle some of this hot sauce on the top of it. Alright, so we're going to let that sit there and simmer. You don't want to put a lid on this. We want it to just simmer just like that. And we'll come back and check it every so often. And it'll take about, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and this will be done. Alright, so it's been about 5 minutes or so, probably a little longer. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take these and roll these over. Get that stuff up off the bottom. Just roll them over. Let them cook a little bit longer, about 5 minutes more, or 10, or yeah, I'm gonna say about 5 more minutes, and these things will be done. So we just want to roll them over, kind of scrape that stuff up off the bottom there. All right. So we're gonna let these cook about 5 minutes more, and these puppies will be done. What a comfort food we got here today. Yeah. So it's been about 20 minutes or so. Everything looks good. We're going to go ahead and turn our fire out, and then we're going to plate this. Be right back. Alright, so let's plate one of these things up. We're going to take, which one do we want? We'll just take this one right here. Reach down in there and get that, plate that, put that on your plate. Oh, look at that. That looks delicious. All right. Then we're going to take a little bit of this sauce that we got, this gravy we got going on down here. Put a little bit of that gravy over the top. Look at that. That looks delicious. Let's give it a taste. All right, let's give a Salisbury steak a try, okay? Here it is right here. So we're gonna go ahead, get this little piece off there, get us some mushrooms, some onion on there, some of that gravy, all that goodness in there. Get our meat. That's delicious. Takes me back to when I was a kid, when Mom used to make Salisbury steaks for us kids. So, yeah, y'all need to give this a try. That hamburger's done all the way through. It's juicy. It's got a lot of flavor to it. So give it a try. Good comfort food. It's good for on like a cold day or something like that. So yeah, don't forget to chase your taste.